Thank you, Professor Gadri. And let me also start by thanking Professor Murthy and her team for organizing this event. Just as you know, all of the panelists and the chair were saying that it's nice to be back to in-person classes. It's also nice to be back to in-person panel discussions. So I think it's a first for me, certainly, after Corona. So I don't have anything really, well thought things to say here, but perhaps that was intentional. And this is something that I have been trying in my classes also, whenever possible. Actually, now that Kishore or Professor Chatterjee is here, it kind of started when we were together in the gate office in 2016. Suddenly, I was spending some time there, etc. And it so happened that my preparing for classes went down. And so I thought, okay, maybe, one can try it like that, try without preparing so much. And I got the feeling that students are okay with it. In fact, students might have, liked some part of it. So, if the teacher is a bit less prepared, maybe, some product is constant or whatever, maybe their understanding, I think it may not always work, but at least some aspects of it, I thought, while the classes were happening and also from the feedback later, that some of it was appreciated. So then I thought, okay, then even if I have time, why don't I make it kind of a habit? And I tried some aspects of it. Of course, one doesn't go without preparing at all, but certainly keep some parts where you will try something spontaneous in the classes, etc. So this is 2016, 2017. So depending on the course, I tried various in various ratios this method, and I liked it because after all, if you are not preparing much, then of course you are you have more time for other things, and if it is working out well, of course it's good. So then the online thing started because of Corona, and I told myself that of course we were all new, and I think I had four courses completely online: two MSc electives, one PhD course, and one first year BTech. And the first year BTech was on Zoom, and the other three were on MS Teams. And anyway, as far as the recording is concerned, it's exactly the same. So as some of the panelists were saying, recorded myself, and I also thought that I will upload all these videos on YouTube, on the department channel. So I was not, I didn't have enough guts to do my unprepared lectures, which are going to be recorded and put on YouTube for anyone to see at any time. So I started preparing again, as in my first years in IIT. This I did not quite like, but I didn't have the guts to do online without preparing. But and now this is the first time I'm doing in person. So one thing I noticed is, so when before Corona, of course, one did not know about online teaching at all. And when the online teaching started, I thought I may not enjoy it, and also for this reason, because it was all prepared. And but then soon, within a few months, I started really enjoying teaching online. And I thought that when the in-person thing is forced on us, I may not like it. To that extent, I liked online teaching. And but then, so funny thing is, maybe it's about me. When the in-person thing started again, I like it again. So maybe I'll say this is better than online now. But at that moment, that's not how I thought. I genuinely thought online is far superior to in-person teaching when the classes were fully online. So maybe I'm thinking aloud. I am trying to summarize why these kind of vicissitudes, and it's possible that at some point okay. So even before I became a teacher, maybe when I was a student itself, I always thought that maybe one primary purpose of the teacher is to engage the class. More than how much you teach and how much syllabus you cover and how many jokes you crack, and cracking jokes is useful to engage the class. And basically students should enjoy the class. And at some point, I can't pinpoint like 2016 when, but at some point I also started thinking that how do I know whether students are really enjoying or not without taking their feedback? I somehow, this may not be correct actually, but this is how I started feeling that if I'm enjoying, probably they are also enjoying. So this is my litmus test whether I enjoy a particular class or not. So that's all that I bother about, and this is a proxy. If I'm enjoying, I assume they are also enjoying. So. So in online times it went well because I certainly enjoyed, and I assume they also enjoyed. And now back to in person, yeah, I think it's also fine. And one thing specifically which some others also might mention is that certainly certain aspects of online teaching I liked. One is that especially in the BTech class where there were so many students, so I was teaching 700 and the other instructor was teaching 700 roughly. One is that the chats in Zoom were like full, flooded. So I really like that, students could discuss, whether the teacher is making a mistake or, this thing or, maybe the probably, there were all kinds of chats which I would, because it's recorded, I could see all the chats at the end of the thing. So as soon as the class is over, I would start reading the chats. So somebody may be making, comments about the teacher, and some people will be actually discussing math, some people will be showing off, oh, you don't know even that, this we learned in our coaching itself, JE coaching time itself, etc. Overall it was very nice. This kind of an interaction uh, is slightly unusual when we are teaching BTech, really, because soon after they have the next class and they are in their own world. Whereas here, maybe some of them did not even know that I can read all these chats, and because it looked very open, and so I got a lot of inputs from those chats, and I would make the next class taking some of these into account. This is one thing I liked, and of course that I can just sit and speak continuously. Also, I liked. Then one thing that I really liked, which was a bit difficult for me at the starting, I assume for everybody, was the use of SAFE. I really loved conducting exams on SAFE, and I really like many features on SAFE. And that's something that I might, even in the in-person thing, if some aspects of SAFE, if I can continue to use, I might do that, I think. After all, correction and all, no complaints at all, especially if it's an objective type exam. It's all done automatically, and I wanted to do one more experiment and in exams, and by that time it became in person. So maybe whenever next lockdown happens or whatever, I might try that. Which is that in safe at the end of the exam, which I found out only towards the end of the online period. Not that tech savvy, so I took time to see this. That you can get it, you can get it in ascending descending order. How many students attempted a particular question, and of course online time copying is always an issue. Copying was a, I have slightly high tolerance level for these things, thinking that these are 18-year-olds, let them do something. But even my tolerance level was breached high time, because it was too much. And uh, and that's how I thought of this, that I wanted to design a question paper where marks for particular questions are not announced. What is announced is that if total is 20 marks, 50 marks, whatever, it will be in proportion to the difficulty level of the question, which I know only from how many people attempted. And I thought this will disincentivize copying, because if you copy and help others, you are, the marks that you are getting is coming down. So it's kind of, and there is an internal mechanism, and I really wanted to do that. I thought of this after the first quiz itself, but I thought it may not be, fair in such a large class before, without announcing this at the start of the course. If I change, there can be complaints and all that. So I did not do that. So, various other things which we can't usually do in the old method. Maybe, there's a scope from these learnings during those years. And yeah, I think perhaps that's all for now. Yeah.